First off, the drama is good. It is an edgy, dark, romantic comedy about a couple who are preparing for a wedding, and the husband finds out a dark truth about his fiancée. It goes from joy and elation to abject misery and awkwardness to stress and finally relief. It is a story about gun control and a history lesson in school shooting, which disappointed me because all I wanted to see was an edgy dark romantic comedy and not a lecture. There is a great scene with Robert Pattinson's character Charlie and Zendaya's character Emma, who are at a photo shoot for the wedding, and Charlie just oozes awkwardness and it's palpable and fits you right into the scene. But unfortunately, this wasn't enough to get me. I would give this film a 2 out of 5-star rating, not for the fact that it's a lecture, and also it got a little pretentious and boring at times. So the film starts off with Robert Pattinson's character Charlie, who's writing his speech for the wedding with his best man, going over when they first met, how their relationship progressed, and all through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then they go off, they practice with their dance coach, the bride and groom dance. Then afterwards, they all meet up for the menu tasting, and this is where it gets interesting. This is where the conversation goes from casual sort of how you doing, how's work, what's been going on in life, to suddenly taking a drastic turn into what is the worst thing that you have ever done in your life. And each one tells their story, and that's when we get to Zendaya's character, and Emma tells her dark truth, which really unsettles everyone around the dinner table. And the film generally just becomes a coping mechanism for Charlie, and he has to try and figure out if whether or not he should stick with his fiancée or he should just run for the hills and forget that he even knew her, because the revelation that she confessed to at the dinner party was so wild and so out there that any normal person would just run for the hills and be like, yeah, see you later. And it becomes a story of how to deal with something like that. It becomes a story of how, about acceptance, about how people deal with other people's histories and past selves, and whether or not we're willing to be accepting enough of who they are now. And that is what Charlie is trying to justify throughout the whole film. So, yes, the film is actually not that bad, but the problem I have with it is very deceptive. They get you in first off with the edgy, dark, romantic comedy, and then it suddenly delves into a lecture and a history lesson on gun control and school shootings and all the politics that come around with that. And it's also a bit convenient as well that the bridesmaid sister or cousin, or can't remember who, was affected by such things, and she completely disowns Zendaya in the film and basically says, like, we're no longer friends. Takes a drastic turn from the edgy dark romantic comedy that we are sold on in the trailers. And when a film does that, it really sort of disappoints the audience because it's not what you came or what you bought the ticket for, and lacks imagination as well from the writer's point of view because it's talking about current affairs. And we've been experiencing this more and more lately in popular culture these days, and we can go back to Daredevil Born Again season 2. It's more or less the same sort of idea. It's they're using current affairs as a story device, and we want to go to the theatre to escape. We want to go to the movie theatres to escape reality. And when they hook you in for the first bit and then take a drastic turn halfway through the film, it kind of begs the question of why am I even out? Like I said, there is a great scene with Robert Pattinson where you can really sense the abject misery dread and awkwardness of this new revelation when he is at the photo shoot for the wedding with him, Charlie, and Emma, Zendaya's character, and the photographer is doing her best to try and make them smile and make them sort of be present in the photo. And you, the audience, know what happened beforehand and are just in that scene along with them. And that scene works really well because Robert Pattinson just sells that awkwardness brilliantly. His performance is really great in this. And I think he's just generally like has that awkward persona anyway in his real life. And so the fact that he's tapping into that really well is amazing. He's using past experience with this, which is great, and also using his own accent as well, which I think was a great character choice, I feel. I would say also Zendaya's performance is pretty decent in this as well. It's something vastly different to what we've seen her do. We used to seeing her being like the moody teenager in like Spider-Man, the warrior princess in like June, for example. And so this is more sort of like your everyday character. And it was quite interesting to see a different side of her for that side of her acting, which is good. But aside from the current affairs issues that are related in this film, it is not too bad. And especially the wedding scene itself, where it all kicks off and everyone is just fighting each other and arguing amongst each other. It's sort of like the crescendo of the piece and works really well. And the director does a great job. I just wish that it didn't have the other side of it. If it just stuck with the relationship of Emma and Charlie and them trying to work through their differences, I think it would work very well. And if it was a different type of issue that she had, and if it just didn't seem to work well in this instance. One gripe I would say is halfway through the film, we finally figure out who and what these people do for a living. They don't really explain too much about where they're from and who they are and what they do for a living. It's not until later on you finally see Charlie's character working in a museum. You're like, finally. So, just minor things that could really improve this film much better. The director of this film did a really great film called Dream Scenario, which I thoroughly enjoyed with Nicolas Cage. It was very quirky and very different and very strange, and this is very much a vast departure from that type of film. And it's good to expand your horizons and do different genres and do different stories because that makes you grow as a director. So I think he tried to swing with the fences on this one and try and make it like as culturally relevant as possible, but I think it could be done in a better and sort of more subtle way. So yeah, let me know what you think, and let me know what you think of the film, the drama, and what you think about Robert Pattinson and Zendaya as actors and working together quite frequently because they're going to be working in The Odyssey and also June as well. And let me know what your favourite sort of edgy, dark, romantic comedy is. And I shall see you in the next video. And thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel.